Okay, I have a riddle for you. What is optimistic, technologically focused, people-centered, and on the show today?
This is Auto Collabs.
And you can't answer ChatGPT. That's not allowed.
No, ChatGPT is only that way if you tell it to be.
Starts with the letter L and rhymes with Laurie Halter.
I'm so excited. Laurie Halter is today's guest, and she is just so much fun to be around. She's one of those people that if you're in the proximity, the blast radius of her overall energy, you just start to feel like you should be smiling and being a little more positive, which makes sense because she's in
right.
PR.
That's so right.
Isn't it though? Dare we say she brings the charisma?
Very. You know, I wasn't even thinking
Laurie,
about
you're
that.
welcome. Laurie, you're welcome.
I know. Charisma Communications. Laurie is one of the most seasoned PR people in the auto industry. We're very excited to just call her a friend and to have her on the show today to talk about a topic that everybody's talking about, AI. So we hope you enjoy this conversation. Laurie Halter. Laurie, it has been way too long since we've had the opportunity to sit down and have a podcast type conversation. Thanks for joining us today on Auto Collabs.
I'm so excited to be here, guys. It has been. I was just telling you off screen. It's been a minute, so I'm excited to be on with you both.
Oh, likewise. So entrepreneurs, no grass ever grows under our feet, right? We are always trying to do something new. And you're one of those people that it's like, catch me if you can. If anyone's ever run into you at a conference or an event or has been engaged with you in any way, they know.
No, literally, Paul.
If they look back.
No, this is not a joke. I think I actually played Catch Me If You Can at the last conference that I was at with
IRL?
Laurie. Like, I was like,
I know.
That was
in
kind of the
every
vibe.
hallway, we were like both. You were running this way, and I was running this way.
It was amazing. You
So
could have
there you
filmed
go.
it and like gotten one of those good like side swipe videos where it's like the person's always running the other way. It would have been magical. Yeah.
So
It'd be
you,
great.
in the vein of that, is that you've been in this industry for a long time.
Yes.
You've been helping a lot of people. You kind of have your fingerprints all over a lot of industry partners and dealerships and the communications and the public relations and a lot of what people see and hear about companies. A lot of times you're in the back channels kind of crafting messages and trying to understand the needs not just of the industry partners, but of, what we all focus on is like, how can we serve the dealers best?
Yes.
And you kind of had this new idea over the last months. And like every great entrepreneur, you don't just have ideas. You actually say, I'm going to do that thing. So you've done a thing, and now you have independent research about to be published into the industry, or it is published into the industry. And you focused on service. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to like synthesize research and give it to the industry.
Well, I love that. And truthfully, like you guys said, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So part of it, right, is like, okay, now I'm bored. What can I do next? But one of the things
now I'm bored. Oh man.
Like,
Said me on a Monday.
Right?
No.
Says every single entrepreneur ever. But really where it came from is as owning a PR firm and working with dealers, vendors, investors across the industry, we realized that there was a hole in the content. So there's a lot of fantastic content creators. You guys are a great example of that. But like deep dive research that really gets into the heart of some of these topics was missing. And so we decided to step in and kind of be in that space. So our first report was on the CDK breach last summer, and it was all about cybersecurity in the dealerships. We released that. And then afterward, we really started seeing a need for AI-based research, because that's all any of us are talking about, right? Is AI.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided to dive into that within Fixed Ops. So this is our second research that we put out. And it really came from, like I said, a need that I saw. Publishers are doing a great job with the articles. You all are doing a great job with digital content, but we really didn't see like deep diving research on some of these topics. And so that's where the idea came from.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because a lot of times the research that you see within our industry is either done by someone that has a product they can sell, or someone from outside of the industry that doesn't really understand it, right? Like a McKinsey comes in, does a deep research, and you can read it and go, yeah, I think you got like 88% of it right, but you
Yes.
You
miss
don't
the
have the
context.
context. Yeah.
The context of that 12%, right? Yeah.
Yes. And we're seeing on the back end as a PR firm, like I understand the analysts, I understand the research, I understand the companies that are paying to be a part of those reports. But what happens is, like you guys talked about, then you're not getting as independent information as you need. And so with this
Right.
report, we really focused on like there was no paid opportunities, nothing sponsored. It truly was just going out into the industry, talking to dealers, talking to vendors, talking to the investors, and trying to bring about a very neutrally played report of information about AI and the service
What
drive.
was something that you learned along the way? Because, you venture into something like this, and it's not like you haven't written before, understood the industry before, done like your own personal research, but what was something that you learned contextually that maybe you weren't expecting? Not maybe specifically about AI, but like as you're starting to do these research things that you're like, I just never thought about doing that piece, or what
Great
what
question.
contextually did you learn?
I think what we've learned overall that's been fascinating, and it should be like a no brainer, is everybody wants information about what the dealer actually thinks, right? So the dealer, it like all these vendors and tech partners are creating products for the dealers, but no one's going to the dealers to say, like, what do you actually want in these products? So one of the most interesting things I think to come out of this is there's truly a hole in the industry when it comes to like dealers speaking to vendors about this is what we want you to create, and vendors actually creating things that are fit the need of the dealers. So I think like for me, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a complete disconnect between what the dealers are actually needing and what's being produced for this industry.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the report. Tell
Okay.
us the premise of the report, the type of research that was done to
Yeah.
generate the findings.
Okay. Also, let me start with, so the report is AI on the service drive. We had a completely independent research team do it. So I've had people say like, you're a PR firm. How could this possibly be, like neutral? And the truth is I kept myself completely out of it. Like I wasn't a part of any of the interviews, but our research team went out, they spoke with dealers, vendors in the space, investors in the space, did their own research, spoke with some of the media companies that have reported on AI, and really put together this very comprehensive guide on what AI is, where are we truthfully in the market with it, and we're further behind than we like to think. And what do the dealers really think about the technology? Like, do they think AI is helping? Is it helping? And so from that, we came up with like an 80-page report with also a vendor guide that takes 12 to 15 of the vendors that we found, the research team found through AI, and rank them like based on here's what they do, here's their cost, here's the benefit to the dealer. We really were focusing on being that resource in the space that's neutral and says, look, we're going to get everybody together and tell you where we're at, how much does it cost, and is it really going to fit the needs of what you're doing in your dealership?
We're
Okay.
behind. So what do you mean? Like, what specifically are we behind in?
Well,
I've got
I
my
think,
thoughts, but
yeah. So I think the vendors think that adoption is at a certain level, and that the dealers can't wait to help like streamline their process and help with customer service. The dealerships we talk to are like, we are hesitant. I don't know what I think about this. I don't know if I like it. So I think when I say behind, like the vendors, I think, and this goes back a little bit to the disconnect I was talking about in terms of like that intermediary between the dealers and the vendors. I think the vendors' thoughts are that everybody's understanding what AI is, how it works, what it does. Meanwhile, the dealers are like, whoa, can this even help us? Let's take a step back. Like, can this even help us, and where can it help?
I think one of the helpful parts of the report, and this is early on in there, is you talk about clear categories emerging in the AI space, which I think is super helpful.
Yeah.
And so segmenting the guide out into these segments, because I think, like you said, everyone's AI this, AI that. So
Yeah.
AI is this big umbrella term
Yeah.
that people can get like literally swallowed up by. So you broke it down into 4 categories. It's communication AI,
Yep.
marketing AI, service operations AI, and infrastructure and consulting. So did you see, or do you know from the research or other hand, what people tend to adopt first out
Oh,
of
yeah.
this list?
Great question. And it's definitely by far like the biggest adoption and the biggest thought of AI right now on the dealer side is outbound text. Like in their mind, outbound tax, to bring in service appointments is number one. And it should probably be step one. But I think what's missing is like the deeper understanding that is just the very tip of the iceberg, right? Like then you go into the marketing, which is outbound and inbound tax. You go into service scheduling would probably be number two. And then you get into 3 and 4 is really like, okay, technician, how do we help solve the technician shortage with AI tools? And the fourth then finally is like predictive maintenance and analytics. Like, so we're nowhere near predictive maintenance and analytics, but that is kind of the final kind of category that we see coming into automotive.
It is interesting to me because, and this is my argument, is I think that the largest LLMs in the world are probably asking themselves in board meetings, they're probably going, how do we get into retail auto?
Yeah,
right?
They should be.
Because the money's so big, right? They know that
100%.
it's there.
Yep.
But there's no translator to do that. Like I think about the financial sector right now. We just read last week that the financial sector is getting an overhaul because Claude and Perplexity's capacity, or Claude's capacity specifically, when it comes to what Anthropic has built for financial modeling and buying and selling on exchanges, is like far surpasses any analyst's expectations.
Yeah.
And yet Perplexity hasn't come and like gone direct to service drive selling, right? And we always struggled with this as an industry ever since the technological revolution in the 2005 to 2013 range, where we kind of have a bunch of purpose-built solutions, but a Salesforce, a HubSpot, a Perplexity, any of those find it a struggle to come into auto. Did you see a gap in your research anywhere of like purpose-built solutions kind of having to pave the way for the adoption that an industry is ready to take
That
on?
is such a good question, Colin, and we totally found that. I mean, so I'll give one example from the report. Allie Peters out of Cavender, we all know and love Allie. She was one of the fixed ops directors that we interviewed, and she was like, "Look, anyone who's going to come in." Now, I will give a shout out to My Karma. They're the ones she had talked about in terms of being the best partner. She was like, "Anyone who's going to come in and try and sell us AI is going to need to work hand in hand with us, and we will pilot it." Because she said that same thing. She said, anyone coming in from the outside is not going to understand the intricacies that are needed within this space.
But they're going to think that they do.
They're going to think
the hard part. Yeah.
So she was saying, like, I think for AI vendors or, anyone out there, a Salesforce, they need to really be like, understand the space and be willing to collaborate with us as they build it. Because, anyone just coming in with an overall solution, it's just too intricate. Fixed ops and automotive in general, it's just too intricate. There's too many steps. The other thing we heard is they really, and we've heard this for tech we'll hear it till the end of tech, streamline. They're just like, we don't want one more plugin. Please, please, please build into, our existing systems, so we don't have to just add one more thing on top of the DMS.
I want to go back to one of the things you said. I've never heard, I've yet to hear. This is the first time where I saw somebody directly or heard somebody directly tie deploying AI to helping with the technician shortage. Unpack that for a minute.
Yeah. So this is fascinating. I mean, I think I was reading in the report, now don't quote me, but I think it's something like we're at a 600,000 person technician shortage.
Problem.
Yeah. Well,
it does say that. Hold on. It says roughly as of 2022, there were 733 techs employed, but industry forecasts project a need for 1.346 by the end of this year, right now.
Yep.
Leaving a shortfall of over 600,000.
600,000 shortfall.
My goodness.
So, crazy, right? And we're hearing that. I mean, we're hearing that. You guys for sure are hearing that. I'm sure I hear that every day. Automotive News is doing stories on that all the time.
For sure.
So one way that AI can really help with that is by speeding up the process, by getting in there and saying, this is kind of the predictive maintenance and parts we were talking about as well. Mm-hmm. If AI can say, we know this amount of cars come in at this time needing this individual repair, then we're better able to stock the parts. The technicians are better able to fix the problem. If they've got the AI tools in their space that are even like, let's take a simple, the video walk around for the consumer. That's going to speed up the consumer saying, yes, go ahead, move forward with these, and they have the parts in stock. So I think it will just by speeding up the entire process, they're going to help hire more technicians, speed up their workload, and have them get more done on a daily basis to increase that output. But it's a massive problem that we as an industry are kind of burying our head in the sand, to be honest.
Well, you're trying to help that. Who are the people, the report is out. Who are the people that seem to be the quickest adopters of the information in here? Who are the people that are reading it first, feeding back on it first?
Out of dealers, vendors, or investors?
Yes. Yeah. And
vendors,
even
100%,
when,
right?
and even
vendors,
when we say
100%.
dealers, if you could break that down when we get to the dealers part, who in the dealership? So vendors, 100%.
Okay. Yeah. Vendors, 100%. What I was surprised at is a lot of principals. It's actually the principals and the general managers that are downloading. We thought it'd be a lot of the fixed ops directors, but it's truly from the download side, because we see all the downloads that are coming in. Mm-hmm. It's dealership group heads and things. So I think
that kind of makes sense though, because you think of the closer you get to the front line, the more things you have on your desk that you have to deal with today.
Yeah. And I think, the vendor guide is, like I said, a great resource, because Chris, who put our research together, has tons of checklists and options, and here's the feature, and here's a little bit about the company. So if they're just getting into AI and they're really feeling overwhelmed, it's a great resource to just kind of give you a broad spectrum of the space. And here's the people who are here to help you with it. So yeah, I would say on the dealership side, 100%, the owners are the ones reading it over the fixed ops directors.
Yeah. And it's interesting though, because and this is where I'm really intrigued specifically along AI and in the service drive. Your average technician isn't spending probably, I would say I spend an average of 2 hours a day in an AI tool for personal or business use, right? Mm-hmm. And so spending time in other industry, in global industry AI tooling, if you're not doing that, can create a gap. I guess my question would be who is spending the time in the tools, right? If the dealer principal and people like that are trying to think about, how do I use this? How do my people leverage this? When it comes to the adoption across the dealership operations, that's going to be a hard one to press down. I imagine that this is an education framework that probably needs to get driven into the dealership rather than just being kind of a research thing, right? It's how do you see that coming out as you explore how to give this research to the industry? You're thinking about what other avenues can I do this? How do you explore giving it more deeply into the store where everybody in the store is ready and waiting for this?
Yeah, I think that's such a good question. I mean, like I said, I think it's going to have to be principal and top down, which is why we're seeing the group owners downloading the research, because anything else, it's just really going to have to take the owners that are saying, okay, we actually can't ignore this anymore. We really need to move forward with this. I was just speaking the other day with a dealer owner who I won't mention, but I said, would you be interested in talking to me about this research and giving me kind of the dealer perspective? And he said, to be honest, Laurie, I'd talk to you, but we're not doing any of it in our dealership. So I think the adoption, while I would love to push this research into every area of the dealership, I think the adoption starts at the very top, and you have to have a dealer owner or principal who's we're going to do this, and I'm going to be the champion of it.
Because what's going to happen is that if they're not saying that now, is they're going to go to a 20 group meeting, or they're going to come back, and not just one, but 3 or 4 of the people in the 20 group meeting are going to be, opening up the books and showing the difference. And then that dealer principal is going to come back and be like, hey, everybody, why aren't we using AI?
Yes, exactly.
Right? We need, get me some AI right now, right? And get me some AI while I'm waiting for that, right?
Yep, 100%. Tully Williams is another one we interviewed. He's a great fixed ops, such a smart guy.
Very
and
nice.
he was saying, look, I don't care. the AI tool can make us as fast as possible, could like send out emails. He was like, at the end of the day, I'm very concerned about customer experience. How is it helping our customer experience, period? And if it's not, and they're just talking about speeding up the process and like, online scheduling, he's like, I don't care. Just come in, show me how it helps with our customer experience from beginning to end, and then maybe we'll give you a chance. Then that's
Yeah,
a
that
maybe.
makes a lot of sense.
So I think the other answer to your question, Kyle, beyond like who's going to do it in the dealership, the vendors who are most interested in getting into the space need to truly collaborate and partner with their early dealerships that they're going into. So it gets back to what Ali was saying, like vendors, if you're interested in truly helping in this space, go find a couple dealerships that are willing to collaborate with you as you build it out. I think that's going to be so key.
Yep.
All right. So wait, before you, you had a last one?
I did. I wanted to know what the next
fine.
research paper is.
Fine.
What are you researching right?
Good question.
I gotta know. Like, what can we look out for? Do you know what's on the
The
horizon?
ratio of people in a company who wear flat brim black hats to work every day,
That's
profitability over time.
How did you know? That's 100%. No, we're looking at a couple different, a lot of people that were like retail AI and stuff reach out. We're like, hey, we're not part of the report. I don't think we're going to go right into another AI report because I think, we've done one. Tons of interest in the OEM process and how do vendors get involved in the OEM certification process and like what does that look like? So we might go into something like that. The honest, truthful answer is we haven't decided yet, but we try to do research based on trends. So like the CDK breach, we did cybersecurity. I heard more and more and more across the industry that AI in the service drive is being adopted faster than anywhere else. So it typically the nucleus kind of is driven by things we're just hearing in the industry or big trends that are happening right now.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, Laurie, kudos to you for pulling these together. I think it's awesome research. We'll make sure that the show notes are riddled with how to get these. Where can people go? Like give the audio listeners a landing spot for these.
Probably the easiest thing to do is go to my website, which is www.charismacommunications.com. And at the top bar, there's AI in the service drive. Like
easy to go.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Laurie, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It was fun talking with you and like dreaming up what AI is going to look like and how people can use it. And thanks for joining us here on Auto Collabs.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it, guys.
Okay, I'm actually really impressed that a PR firm saw it fit to go, hey, look, how do we talk about solutions that are much more broad than maybe even the thing that we do every single day and dive into a topic like how AI is going to be leveraged throughout the dealership. And I think, it serves the industry in a very unique way, the way that they went about the research, the third party impact of it. And it's a lot of the things that, we've been talking about, but really put in a very well thought out, clear way so that operators, industry partners can even be thinking about how to bring AI tools to market and serve the dealer and serve the customer in a really great way.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, you go.
No,
yours is probably better. Okay, fine. I'll go.
After you.
I just say. What comes to my mind is this, kind of a validation around the fact that there are those of us, the three of us included, who are having active conversations and playing around with and implementing AI in a variety of different, methodologies. And we have conversations that can sometimes be challenging because it's kind of assumed that everyone is seeing it the way that we're seeing it and doing it the way that we're doing it. And so we end up actually talking to a small microcosm of people that are early adopters, that are forward thinking or whatever it might be. And then, to her point, hey, like most of the industry that we're finding right now likes hearing about it, but they're kind of not implementing it.
They're doing it right. Yeah.
And that kind of brings the bigger picture into view, which is, I think that's going to be the way it is. I mean, every second scroll on Reels for me is some AI expert, preaching about the cautioning against the impending doom of the world. And so it seems fast for me, but her, some of the stuff that she's brought up, these different stages of adoption and all of those sorts of things that we're seeing in the industry kind of just reminded me like, it's moving fast for us because we're in it. We're like in a driver's
yeah,
seat.
but not everybody else. That's so true. And every time you show someone, and this demographic of people who don't use it is going to get smaller and smaller really quickly. But still, there's so many people. I mean, how many times a day do you witness or hear something where you're like, I mean, you could have just done that in like 30 seconds.
Oh,
right?
It's painful.
Right? It's hard. Like I asked Kyle the other day, where were we last week? And we walked into a restaurant, like a fast casual.
Oh, do you ever look at the world?
And I'm like, yeah, that purple on that board is wrong. And why is that there? And then I said to Kyle, I was like, isn't it? Don't you just wish you could shut off the analysis that happens whenever you walk into a business? He's like, it's brutal. Like efficiency analysis, design analysis. But again, back to your point, Michael, the stages, I think that is one of the most important parts of the conversation that she was talking about. What is stage 1, 2, 3, 4? We need to get people into at least testing the waters in stage 1 so we can move them through. And so we hope that you check out the report. We're going to link it in the comments so that you can get to it. Laurie's really easy to find too online. I'm sure she would love if you connect with her on LinkedIn or otherwise, but our time for here for now is done. So on behalf of Kyle Mountseer, Michael Cirillo, and myself, thanks for joining us and the charismatic Laurie Halter on Auto Collabs.
Welcome to Auto Collabs. Why are we recording?
We were